From the Kravitz lineage, bagging major roles, to some more shocking celebrities who were born with a leg up in the industry, here are Black celebrities you didn't know were Nepo babies. The whole debate around Nepo babies is taking over pop culture and media, because most people didn't know just how big of a problem this was until recently. Okay, maybe it's not a huge problem, or at least it's not the biggest thing we should be worrying about, but it really deflates the myth that celebrities are somehow inherently more talented than other people. Making it in showbiz is more about who you know than what you can do. And folks like Sofia Coppola, Maya Hawke, and the entire Kardashian family prove that. However, there are a few Black celebrities out there that you probably didn't know were Nepo babies too. So without further ado, let's check out some of the most surprising Black Nepo babies out there. First up, we've got the girl who made a splash on The Last of Us, Nico Parker. She stood out for her performance as Joe's daughter in the series, and even though some people had mixed feelings about her character being race swapped, it's safe to say that Nico gave a great performance. That proves that she wasn't just a diversity hire, but at the same time, her excellent acting skills didn't just appear out of the blue. After all, this is Thandiwe Newton's daughter we're talking about. Yup, Nico Parker is just one of Thandiwe's 3 children. And when you're raised by a mom who's been in everything from Mission Impossible 2 and Westworld, you're bound to be talented. Of course, it's not like acting skills are genetic. Rather, her upbringing probably helped Nico develop the skills necessary to make it in Hollywood. Her dad, Oliver Parker, is in the business as well as a director and playwright. So if anything, she was destined for showbiz. Honestly, when I found out about Nico's parentage, everything clicked into place. She looks exactly like Thandiwe Newton, but there are a few other Nepo babies out there who are harder to spot. Just look at Rashida Jones, for example. You probably know her from her stint on Parks and Rec, and she's already gotten some momentum in her career after appearing in a few episodes of The Office. She's gone on to become a respectable writer as well, helping to create Toy Story 4 in the process. But one of her lesser-known works includes a documentary about Quincy Jones. It turns out that she had some pretty deep insights about the man's career because he's her father. In case you don't know, Quincy Jones is a 28-time Grammy Award winner who produced 3 of Michael Jackson's best albums. His work as a producer has turned him into a living legend, so you could say that Rashida's success was inevitable given how she descends from musical royalty. To be fair, Rashida didn't become a singer, even though that would have been easier with her dad's connections. Instead, she decided to follow the path of her mother, who happens to be Peggy Lipton, who starred in shows like Twin Peaks once upon a time. Jones is a pretty common name, so it makes sense that most people don't know about the connection between Rashida and Quincy. Something tells me that's why John David Washington's superstar lineage flies under the radar too. Okay, some might say that it's obvious who the dude's father is, but I was personally shocked when I found out that he's Denzel Washington's son. He got his start in acting pretty early on, when he was just 7 years old, although it was just a small role in Malcolm X. The fact that Denzel played the lead role in this film just goes to show how helpful these types of connections can be. But John tried to branch out a bit as he grew older. Instead of just taking the easy route and following in his dad's footsteps, he tried to become a professional athlete for some time. He spent about 6 years playing football, but the funny thing is that he wasn't very successful. I mean, he does hold his alma mater's rushing record, but he went undrafted in the 2006 NFL draft. The years went by, and John just couldn't gain a footing as a pro footballer, which ultimately led to him joining the short-lived UFL before it suddenly went under in 2012. Eventually, he decided that joining the family business was the best choice, and he began his acting career in 2015 with a role on the HBO series Ballers. He might have been better off just sticking with acting from the get-go, but some Nepo babies are so afraid of the label that they have to try something else before circling back to the inevitable. Of course, other Nepo babies, like O'Shea Jackson Jr., use the status to boost their careers. A lot of you already know that O'Shea is Ice Cube's son, but that just wasn't common knowledge during his early career. I mean, how many of you even know Ice Cube's real name? If you did, you wouldn't need me to tell you that O'Shea is named after his father. It's lucky for him that his dad's exclusively known by his pseudonym, because that allowed O'Shea to be the only bearer of this name in showbiz as of right now. Ironically, he made his acting debut after years in the music business by playing his own dad in Straight Outta Compton, and he used the massive career boost it gave him to move on to bigger and better things. Last I heard, O'Shea had starred in the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's reprising his role in the Den of Thieves sequel, which is coming out in 2024. Things are clearly going well for him, and despite his openness about being a Nepo baby, his name just doesn't ring a bell for most people, so he doesn't have to answer any uncomfortable questions about his privilege. Now, there are some black celebrities out there with distinctive names, but y'all still won't believe that they're Nepo babies. Case in point, Zoe Kravitz. The first time I saw her was in X-Men First Class. For those who have seen the movie, she's the dancer that Professor X and Magneto pretend to want a lap dance from, only to reveal that they're interested in her mutant abilities. The scene where she takes off her clothes and reveals wing tattoos that turn into actual wings is seared in my memory. But can you imagine my surprise when I realized she's Lenny Kravitz's daughter? I mean, maybe I should have guessed it, but the guy's a musician after all. I'd have assumed that his daughter would join the music biz too, but in this case, Zoe decided to be more like her mom, Lisa Bonet, who spent about 8 years starring in The Cosby Show. With parents like that, it would have been shocking if Zoe didn't become famous, but to her credit, she worked her way up from smaller roles until she broke out with the Divergent series and eventually played a decent Catwoman in The Batman. As surprised as I was about Zoe, I was downright floored when I found out about her dad. It turns out that Lenny Kravitz is a Nepo baby too. His dad, Cy Kravitz, was a big shot producer at NBC, but more importantly, his mom, Roxy Roker, holds a place in TV history. For 10 years, she played a character named Helen Willis on The Jeffersons, which is kind of like The Cosby Show's predecessor in terms of black representation. That alone makes her a big deal, but her character was also part of the first interracial relationship ever shown on American TV. I am not claiming that Lenny Kravitz's success was due solely to his mother's appearance on television. All I'm saying is that it must have given him a leg up. He's a talented musician, and every other celebrity I've mentioned in this video is talented too, but that doesn't change the fact that they were born into the business. How many equally talented people will never get the chance to shine just because they don't have famous parents? So, from the Kravitz lineage, bagging major roles throughout history, to some shocking black celebrities you didn't know were Nepo babies, these are some of the many black celebrities who are Nepo babies.